I was always, go with the flow kind of person in my family. And then I started dating Noah, and I kind of just had to develop that.
It's backhanded.
Go with the flow.
Dear Shandy. Welcome back to Dear Shandy, listeners. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How are you today?
Doing great.
Very
Doing
great.
good.
We have a very exciting Love Fest couple today.
We do.
Yes. We've been kind of hoping for this to happen one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like trying to play my cards right. And then one day Noah was like, well, come on the podcast. And I was like, okay. You made my job a lot easier. Thank you guys, Abigail and Noah, for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, you guys.
Super stoked. Yeah, you didn't even have to pitch it. I just kind of said it. And you're like, wait, really? And then as I'm walking away, I'm like, yeah, really. Here we are. We're glad to be here.
We're really excited to have you.
Great.
I mean, I never want to presume, especially when the couple in question is kind of like a public couple. Sometimes we'll have a couple on where one person's Bachelor Nation and then the other party is a civilian, as we call them.
Nation.
Yeah, just nation.
Yeah.
And so it means a lot to us that you joined us, and we're going to have fun today, dissecting your relationship.
I'm stoked. I just want to give a forewarning. If I miss any of the check boxes here that we're all looking for, it's not on me. I'm going to blame sleep or something like that. So let's get it going. If I can't
disclaimer.
where she was born or something.
We talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, just something. Anything could happen.
Well, you've got a head injury.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
That's a good
Concussed.
excuse.
I'm concussed.
you have a qualifier. You can conditional everything you say on this podcast. You could just say head injury.
You're also going to fit right in starting off with a disclaimer because it's very on brand for us to do that too.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning of your relationship. Usually our first question is, how did you meet? But I have a feeling most people know how you met. So instead, what I want to know is, did you already know of each other from watching the show? And what were your first impressions?
Do you want to start?
Do you want to start?
Okay. The extent of Abigail that I knew was just from the show, The Bachelor, and I was on The Bachelorette, so I knew that there's a lot of perception and editing, but I liked what I saw, and I was like, if she's, anything like that, she seems really sweet. Could see there to maybe be some potential, but it was only super surface. But Abigail was one of the only people I had put on my little list. I think I mentioned two other people. I'm not going to say who they were, but Abby knows. It was like, this is the surface level that I know them. I would like to know more. Mm-hmm. And for first impression was hot dang. I was like, she's hot. So let's see, what we're like, just talking and hanging out.
Okay, Abigail, how about you?
So I actually watched this season right after I got back from Matt's season of filming.
Oh, wait, sorry. Beautiful, not hot. I have to work on my words that I use.
And my first question was, well, obviously I thought he was like the mustached villain on Tasha's season. I didn't really know what to think of it. And then when Paradise, kind of the discussion started rolling around and just kind of thinking, okay, who would I be interested in? I was actually talking to my mom, and she highlighted Noah because I guess she really liked you on Tasha's season.
Bless up, Susie.
Yeah.
Mom knows best.
I had a really good first impression. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think he was a villain, but I just really didn't know what to expect.
Puts me in a good position though, because
yes,
I can she can be pleasantly surprised if I'm not, just the worst. But then if I am, it's like, that's kind of what I expected. So you can't really prove it.
It's funny having gotten to know you after that season because, yes, you were kind of a villain, but you also kind of weren't. And you also, you spoke up for yourself and for a certain kind of person, I felt like. And even though I didn't necessarily agree with everything, you just weren't your typical villain. There was just more layers. Andy's not going to chime in because he didn't watch that season.
Well, I will say this. I think the mustache made you a villain. It's the mustache fault.
I shaved it today.
You
Abby,
did.
I was trimming it.
You look much nicer.
Do I?
Yeah, I trust you more.
I agree with that.
So true.
Yeah. Even in like cartoons, when you draw like a bad guy, you're always drawing the mustache. Bad guys always have in the old timey cartoons, right? The mustache, especially the handlebar, which you were close to. You were getting there.
Do you feel a sense of loss?
No, I mean, honestly, you can actually see my face. People probably do smile more when I don't have a mustache, because I smile a lot and the mustache kind of hides my lip. I don't have a sense of loss. I'm just a different person. Truly.
Okay. Wow.
Did you have a funeral for the stash? Did you just like
No,
lay it to
actually,
rest
I was
somewhere?
just trimming it. Abby likes a heads up if I do anything crazy, like cut my hair or shave my face or anything.
Yeah.
And I just walked out and it was
Every single time. No heads up.
I'm the same way, Abigail. I need to know what's going on. And actually, before our wedding, I didn't let Andy shave his face, even though it was our wedding and it was a formal event. I was like, I just don't know. I don't know what that looks like. Like, I don't want to exchange vows with someone I don't really recognize.
And I just feel like I like to ask for people's opinions before I do any changes. Like, I ask you, like, oh, like, what would I look like with this kind of hair? And he just does it without asking. I'm just like, oh.
But she's the type that 2 minutes in, she's like, oh, I love it. That looks so much better. I'm like, okay, what was this whole 8 months of don't shave that you were talking about? Now you love it. So I know you won't be into it once you kind of warm her up a little.
I love anything that you do.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, she loves you.
Yeah.
You can have it. You can do anything.
That's what she was saying.
That's cute. Okay, so back to first impressions. How have those changed now that we're a year plus in?
You get this one. I got the last one.
So how our impressions change? I think I saw right away on Paradise, just not that I was like proven wrong, but I was just like, okay, he's just so much more than just kind of like the fun guy or the, just goes along with everything. He had a lot more depth to him. We have really good conversations. And I think I just saw really quickly that there was a lot of potential for like a really strong relationship.
And now?
I mean, I agree. I was going to say the only thing is, I mean, my initial reaction or perception of Abigail, the only thing is it's deeper now. Obviously, that's something that we've been very intentional about, is our own terms, opening up on our own terms, diving into certain topics when each other's ready, things like that. So it's kind of the same impression I had. It's just more full and deeper than it was.
More color.
Yeah. There's might be a curveball, but you're like, oh, since we've already opened up to this level, that makes more sense. Whereas initially, if you just start and you're like, here's all this, here's this, you might be taken back. But I feel like there's a lot more depth to, I guess, now than the initial.
Off the cameras.
Yeah,
do you find each other weirder than you initially thought? I'm just curious. I say that because to me,
weird.
Andy's so much.
She is weird. And I know I'm weird. I never said I wasn't, but she's definitely, I'm like, all right. That's just, I guess, what she does.
Okay.
I don't know.
Things have gotten weird in the best way.
Yeah, but it's fun. I mean, I'm not somebody that's going to be like, oh, that's weird. Don't do that. I might be like, maybe don't do that in public. But
Well, that's the thing about TV. TV forces you to be a little less weird. You just want to play it safe. You don't want to be totally yourself.
Well, yeah, I feel like it's a combo.
Of
It's a combo of you being conscious of how weird you can be. And I think it's really hard to be as weird as you can be in front of other people, let alone on TV.
Right.
Plus, I do feel like the show tends to shave you down to one stereotype facet of who you are. Like, I felt that way watching myself. I'm sure you felt similar. It's like, okay, yeah, that's not me, but there's so much more to me.
it's a double-edged sword, because on TV, you either have to like box yourself in where you're like, I can't do all this, and those people will have regrets later on, or you have to really hone into the one side that's keeps coming at you, and then it's like that's all you see.
Yeah.
You can't always be the person that, like, I'm not always going to be the one that starts a fight and hops a fence every instance of every day. But, if my back's against the wall, I'd be like, oh yeah, I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and there are people, I think, who would.
18 and 20-year-old Noah definitely would get, start the fight or hop the fence if it came up. But yeah.
So speaking of facets of your personality, how would you guys say you complement each other?
I would say she she helps ground me a little bit because I don't miss deadlines, but I am very cool with getting as close as I can, letting fate get in the way. And I always say it always works out kind of thing where she's like, no, we have to leave now, or we have to do this now, or you said you would do this, do it, then do something else.
Oh my gosh, you sound so naggy.
Well, no, it helps ground. It helps ground where my personality is like, yeah, I'll do what I can. The rest will sort itself out. And maybe that thing that I said I was going to do, I missed it until way later when I could have just done it. So she helps kind of ground me out, whereas I'm more like go with the flow.
Yeah. I, for some reason, can picture you in an Indiana Jones hat, like sliding under the stone wall for some reason.
Yeah.
I could totally see that. And Abigail, I relate to that. I feel like you kind of grow out of leaning into procrastinating all the time. I feel like I have. Now I'm like, oh, we have to leave now. We have to leave now because I hate the feeling of rushing. And it, for some reason, took me like 10 years to learn that. I don't know why. But yeah.
Yeah, I always say, like, I never really used to be like a type A person. I was always, go with the flow kind of person in my family. And then I started dating Noah, and I kind of just had to develop that.
It's backhand.
Go with the flow. But I'm just like, we got to get things moving or get the show on the road a little bit. But no, I think we balance each other out really well because I think while I'm like that, he's also very good at being very present, very positive, kind of in the moment. Because I think sometimes I can get, like down about some stuff like social media or just stressing about bigger picture things. And he always just kind of brings me back to the present and just says, okay, well, today's like a new day and whatnot. So
I love that answer.
That's a good one. That's important.
I want you to do that with me more.
I do that with you all the time. More?
On the flip side too, I like to kind of recharge by like myself and just sometimes not want to do anything. And she'll be goofy weird when I'm like just not in the mood. So it kind of goes both ways as well. Wait,
so how does that play out? I'm curious.
Well, if I'm like, I just don't want to do it. I've been busy. I've been doing stuff. I don't really want to talk to anybody, or let me just do this thing. She'll come in and I don't know what she's doing, dancing or singing perfectly on pitch, of course. Just kind of like, let's go for a walk. And I'm like, I don't really want to, but actually after it's all said and done, it's like a nice little switch up where she's the kind of goofy,
like we both kind of recharge differently. And so just like trying to figure out how do you let the person recharge, but then without,
lift them up too.
Like living together, we do pretty good, but we definitely have our moments here and there.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why living together doesn't work out for a lot of people. It's really the big test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's always the test. You should do it as soon as possible. When you think it's right, if you think it's right, just live together and you will know.
Very quickly.
Or travel together.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I think it's those two. Travel together and live together.
Traveling can take the place.
You have to travel together in either a nice place or not the nicest kind of place in order to really get to know somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
I would almost say the less nice, the more you'll learn.
Yeah, because if you can see somebody like cranky from no food or the
jet lag. We tested that out really early on because Paradise is not the best living.
Yeah, situation. But we have stuff catered to us.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the car broke down and we ran out of gas and my Spanish is that of a 2-year-old. Like, all right.
It's really true. You can get around living with each other if you go on a really long, difficult trip.
Yeah.
Sort of bypass it.
Living together.
Yeah. You could just go and say like, hey, we're going to backpacking in Europe for 10 days. Yeah. Come on, let's see what happens.
That's true.
And you'll know.
Speaking of being on the show and being looked after, I always look for segues. What would you say? Because let's be real here. You met on TV, you dated on TV, you broke up on TV. What would you say is the biggest misconception about your relationship?
You have stuff to say. Go ahead.
Someone's got something to say.
We got a reaction from Abigail on that one.
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts. No, just kidding. No, I think one of the hardest things for me, and I know I can attest to this, was watching ourselves back on Paradise because, while we did break up on TV, we had a lot of really good moments together. We had a lot of relationship building moments together. I felt really good about our relationship during that time. And watching it back, I just felt like I was watching something I've never seen before, just in terms of, I just felt like you only kind of saw, maybe a fight that we had or us just sleeping. And there were just so many moments that were missed. And I think there was kind of a misconception that we were just the boring couple, we're friend zoning each other, this, that, and that. And I'm just like, it's unfortunate that people didn't get to see like the real love story between us. But if anything, we know it. So that kind of makes it special. But I would definitely say that was a misconception.
We actually talked about that.
I got to tell you, that would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Your reaction you had, I feel like I would have way worse.
You'd be inconsolable.
I would be inconsolable just because I'd be like, what? That doesn't represent who we are. And I would agree, because when we met you in person, and of course you were dating, you were back together and had been for a while, I was like, wow, this is a really solid couple. I feel like I fell for an edit.
Yeah, that's right.
And that must be maddening. Mm-hmm. Or Noah seems less plus.
No, I mean, I have a mentality pretty much across the board where I kind of just like, F them, screw it.
Yeah.
Like, I know what we're like. Is it worth
bother him?
Is it worth my energy to be like, no, you guys got it all wrong, here's us? Or is it worth my energy to save that and like use it where it counts, like together in our relationship? So it didn't bother me a whole lot, but I also kind of I didn't have the best edit on the Bachelorette either. So I was kind of like, all right. And it's kind of like you can only do what you can do. The biggest misconception about us was like, I was asleep on the beach always. Abigail wouldn't talk. And everyone's saying they're like, the it couple, but they don't talk. They don't do anything. They're just there and eat shrimp and drink mimosas. Half of that's true. But we also did have a lot of actually recorded conversations. We had a lot of camera time, but not TV time that wasn't shown, but a lot of conversations where I was trying to dive into questions and she was asking me things that we worked through, we disagreed with, and then we had fun and like hung out with some of the couples or did a date. We set up quite a few dates that didn't get aired. So that was like the biggest misconception, is like the depth and how much fun we actually had, as well as being able to hit those topics that just weren't aired. And it was like, well, it is what it is kind of how I thought, but it was also like, you're seeing all these posts and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, if those people saw it, they would have a different,
Of course.
Yeah. It's a strange choice. They gave them a confusing edit. It was really confusing. We didn't understand. We were just like, they seem like there's something there, but then now there doesn't seem like there's something there.
And the breakup was so heavy and so emotional. It was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That they both had that, I guess, emotional.
We were just as confused, like watching it. We were like, what is going on?
Who are those people? The arc made no sense. It was just like, blah, blah, blah. It made no sense.
There's a lot of,
is that good description?
A lot of, I guess, depth and fun that got, lost in the
But I think that happens
archives,
to a lot of couples.
You can only show so much.
Yeah.
One more Paradise question, and then I swear we'll move on. Just different, if there were a different path, do you think, had you not ended it at the prom, that your whole edit beforehand would have been different?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a loaded question.
That is a loaded question, but it's a good question. I think it definitely, the whole portrayal would have been different if we did end as a power couple, and that, like I said, there was a lot of camera time between us. I think it definitely would have been at least showed differently, but from my perspective, that was all real. So it would have been nice to be shown a little better, have more fun and things like that, show some of the dates, but it didn't. And, that made our coming back and getting back together that much more real, because I already knew when I broke up with Abigail that it wasn't going to look good for me. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, this is where I'm at. I don't know, this is where I'm at. So the coming back, I was like, I've already made my decision. It's already not going to look good. I don't really care, but I still feeling. So it made the coming back, I think, more real.
So I have an interesting story.
Uh-huh.
It's actually not interesting unless you're interested in using Squarespace. But if you are, I was on a conference call the other day with a kind of executive-y person
Okay.
and a graphic designer.
Okay.
We were talking about building a website. And I said, oh, I've used Squarespace. I don't know if that's something you'd use. And the executive guy was like, Andy, please. He's a graphic designer. He doesn't use Squarespace. That's like for amateurs.
Uh-huh.
And actually the graphic designer chimed in and said, actually, you would have been right a long time ago, but now that's as good as almost anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
You didn't tell me
story.
that. It's a
I mean,
true-
I don't think it was worth telling you outside of doing an ad for Squarespace, but within this context, it's an amazing story.
Wow. So there you go. It's not only for website neophytes or
It's for pros.
yeah, I feel good about that.
I felt great about it. I was like, wow. I felt bad actually for the executive. He got kind of clowned on.
We've said this before, but we'll say it again. We are not just blowing smoke when it comes to this. My blog of 8 or so years now is on Squarespace, has always been.
Yep.
Our wedding website, shandy.nyc.
The original appearance of Shandy.
That's true, was on Squarespace.
Yes.
My singing website, charlenejoint.com, also on Squarespace. You have multiple websites on Squarespace. We will not give the URLs because Andy doesn't like to share that side of his life. However, all of our websites on Squarespace and have been for really nearing a decade.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's becoming like your grandfather's web design location.
Oh, isn't that scary? It'll reach a point where you've been on Squarespace for 20, 30 years.
Well, soon, I hope that it becomes one of those things where you're like, I'm just going to Squarespace it.
Like Google?
Yeah,
Let's
that's
Google
the goal
it.
of every
Yeah.
tech company, right?
Squarespacing. I'm going to Squarespace that. I like it. So Squarespace is not only about beautiful websites, it's also function in addition to form. It's insane. They have every single feature you could possibly desire for
Everything.
a website.
Yeah.
And that includes real features like checkout if you are selling product, or scheduling if you are the kind of person that would be booked on a calendar.
Yeah. Lots of blog features.
A million blog features. I love their mobile optimization. It's very pleasing.
You got to have mobile optimization.
Even when you edit it, it's even a phone-shaped template.
It's delightful. But the delight that brings me.
Yeah.
I mean, that used to be a major problem.
It was.
Major.
Yep. Not anymore.
Nope.
No longer, because you Squarespace it.
Yeah. Yeah, I Squarespaced it. So head to squarespace.com/Shandy for a free trial.
And when you're ready to launch, use offer code SHANDY to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Squarespace.com/Shandy. Okay, so segue into my next question. What was an early hurdle in your relationship? And you can either, make it paradisey, or it can be something real world, whatever speaks to you.
Well, I started in the doghouse would be the first early hurdle. It was more on her, like, is she going to let me back kind of thing.
In Paradise?
No, real life.
Oh.
It was starting with her being like, you just broke up with me in an 80s prom dress. Like, what was that?
We're just gonna really could do it at another time.
And then second that, we couldn't be seen together for months. So it was like, have to be like, here I am, let's make this work. Her be like, I'll give him another shot because there's potential, but we also have to be hiding and like work long distance. So it was like, three things against us starting out.
Yeah.
I mean, we worked through it, but it was definitely twice as hard.
Abigail, is it the same hurdle for you?
Yeah, I would say probably the biggest hurdle early on was getting back together, just because I think something that he really expressed was, well, I don't want the breakup to be held against me. If we have future arguments that come up. And I think just the thing for me was realizing that it was such a weird environment. Like, I don't think it was a breakup that would have happened in real life. It was just all the stressors, the environment. I wasn't myself on the show. I think you struggled a little bit too. It's just a weird hurdle because I've always been one. I'm not going to do an on-off relationship. I'm not going to break up, get back together, that up and down. So it was just trying to separate, okay, what were the feelings and then what was the environment at the show, just kind of that hurdle. But I mean, we took a shot, and then after that, it's never really been an issue. I I mean, I feel like we can kind of laugh about
No,
it
I mean,
now, a year later.
It was good for me to hear. I don't want like a on and off sort of, especially in the public eye relationship, because I didn't want one either. But I was also like, yeah, but you can't hold what happened and what I did and on a TV show against me in real life, because if we can't move past that, if it's always, you know, lingering there, that's going to be a big thing that just slowly grows, and then that's the backfall. You blame that. So once we both had that understanding, it was like, all right, where are you at? Where can I fly to? Kind of thing.
I want to know the timeline. How fast after you left the show did you guys come back?
We said we wouldn't ask any more Paradise questions, but I have this
to.
image, Noah, that your plane lands and you're like, what did I do?
Yeah, how soon did you regret? Like, what? I want to know when the regret clock started after the
when did
season
the
ended.
sinking feeling begin?
Yeah.
The initial feeling was, okay, I could have lost a good girl. But I was not even off the show. I got my phone and I was like, I'm just going to make sure, at least for my own conscience, I wasn't a dick to her and how I did it. There's no bad blood and she's a good person and that's just my own choice. That was like the initial. I just want it to be a neutral. Hope you're well. I'm sorry that it worked out this way. But in the back of my mind, I was like,
that's not good enough. You owe me an expectation.
In the back of my mind, I was thinking this would have been a lot different. I think maybe not on TV. So that was always there. I mean, even when I ended up, you know, breaking up or leaving the show, that thought was always, this might have been different if we were on our own court, you know? And I want to have that shot where, you know, I already know this girl and I see the potential there. I want to have that shot where it's us and our strengths and our weaknesses, not, you know, 30 other people involved. So it's pretty immediate.
So my theory was, and we discussed this, that
I love that he's answering for himself and you're like, well, my theory.
I'm going to tell you what you really thought. No, but I thought you broke up with Paradise, Abby, and you wanted to restart with Real World, Abby.
Oh.
That's what I thought.
That's a super introspective, you know, deep thought. And I do think there's some substance to that. Because I said that the first date we had on Paradise, I said, all right, I know the Abby that's shown. I've talked to this Abby over the last 8 hours or however long it was. And I know there's more. Like, you're not just a quiet, cute, you know, girl. There's more depth to you than what I've seen and what, you know, I've gotten to know. So yeah, there is some truth to that. Kind of like not holding on to what I knew was there. The potential was there, but I knew both of us would be better, you know, after the show. And if not better, we would have a for sure answer, not me being like, did I get in my head? Did she act this way? Were production involved? I'd rather have known on our own terms that we do or don't work out.
And was there any discussion of that? Well, I guess you can't really. I mean, you're always mic'd. You can't ever have any discussion.
I mean, you tell us. Did you openly discuss that?
Yeah, was there any sort of whispering?
I didn't want to make this a Paradise conversation.
No, I don't want to either. But it's important because unlike most times, this is an important turning point, I think, with you guys. I was very interested in this. I'm rarely interested in drama on this show.
It's true. He never cares.
I don't care. I laugh at it. It's just dumb. I was very interested in what was going on dynamically with you guys. I didn't get it.
For better, for worse, we really discussed everything, camera in our face or not. And that was kind of, we both knew, okay, we're on a TV show. She doesn't like talking in front of the cameras. I kind of get annoyed that she doesn't talk. And she would be like, yeah, that's how it is. I don't like the camera. I'd be like,
get used to it. Like, we're going to have no talking relationship.
We weren't, I mean, we did talk about all those things on the show, actually.
Okay.
Abigail, you and I are cut from the same cloth because I was the exact same way.
Yeah.
Like once I saw it coming near me, I was like, whoop.
I don't know what it is, because it's not like, oh, I'm worried I'm going to say the wrong thing, but I think it just makes it feel so much more unnatural where...
Yes, it feels performative.
Well, you, like a normal human, felt like someone was listening in on your conversation. It's like you're at the bar and some creepy guy is like, what are you talking about?
I mean, they were literally a few feet away from you, but... Yeah, I think it was that. And then I just had all these thoughts coming in of, you know, if we talk about something, really personal. There's a million plus people that are going to hear it. And I just got so in my own head about it. And so I kind of just shut down when the cameras came around.
I think that just makes you smart, in my opinion.
Delightfully smart.
And just when you said that some person's like lurking at the bar, it just made me think of who I think it was Ivan walking past in the hoodie in the background. We do have a fifth wheel.
Yeah, there's
on this
technically another guest on this podcast making a very, very infrequent and nonverbal appearance. But that's very interesting. Thanks for expounding on that.
It's time for Andy's favorite question.
I would like to know how you guys fight. Describe the fight and how the conflict is resolved and who. And we already know that a good right hook from Abby caused that gut. But we want to know, how do you fight? How do you resolve conflict, and who usually says "I'm sorry" first?
You want this one? Go ahead.
So I feel like we usually start off with something that happens that I usually notice, and I get very quiet. And he usually has to come up and say, "Oh, is something wrong?" And he usually has to ask like 2 or 3 times. And I'm finally like, okay, yeah, like this is bothering me. I'm definitely much more emotional. Like when we're fighting, sometimes I have harder time seeing the other side. He's very like logical. He's very much like, I can see your side. This is how my perspective of it. And then he's usually the first one to say sorry.
Wow, Noah, this is looking really good on you right now.
It makes me sound very good.
But not me.
Usually we don't fight about big stuff, so.
It depends. I'd say it depends what we're fighting over, how much skin's in the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it does normally go with me being like, all right, Abby's quiet, and I've asked twice, or I know she's quiet because of something I did that I don't think is a big deal, that she thinks is a big deal. So
he's decoding.
Yep.
That's a big deal. So I can either be like, what's wrong? Or I can let her figure it out. And I've learned it's not always a good thing to just let her figure it out, because that makes it look like I don't care or I'm oblivious.
Yep.
Wow.
So there's a fine line of, and there's things that it's me too, but I'm pretty like, if there's a conflict, let's address it. And that's
wisdom beyond his years. Wow, I'm so impressed.
I was going to say, so beyond his years, because I learned this not that long ago. Like, I was way older than you when I learned this, but I will never stop asking. Well, I know when something's wrong, and I will not stop asking. Even if you tell me to shut the fuck up, I will continue to ask you what's wrong, and eventually you'll tell me.
Yeah.
And that's how it's done. And I agree with you. Good tactic.
My parents, this is something we actually did talk about on the show. Something I was so cognizant of is conflict resolution. Because obviously on Paradise, everything's great. Like I said, we just ate shrimp all day.
It's paradise.
But I was like, all right, so I get in this relationship on TV and we never actually had a struggle. And then we get in the real world and we're just like, we don't know how to deal with it. And then, it all collapses. So I will say I went out of my way sometimes on Paradise to get in trouble, to be like, how do we handle this?
Oh, wow. Advanced.
I know, I did, but it was important to me, because I think conflict resolution, my parents taught me, like, that is a huge foundation in a relationship. Everyone gets in fights, everyone argues, everyone disagrees on something. It's how you go about it and have respect, but still love the person. That's important. Yeah. So we're pretty, that's something that we do take pretty seriously. Is it's not the fact that we fight or don't fight. It's like how we get through what we fight.
Beautiful.
So that's something that we do try to actually focus on quite a bit.
It's so important.
And isn't it interesting how that's something you were raised with, and how now it seems like, Abigail, you get to reap the benefits of that in your current relationship?
Well, I mean, that makes me look like this
vessel.
It's not the case. I mean, I'm an idiot too, but.
No, I mean, my parents always said too, conflict is, you always want to see how the other person handles conflict. Do they respect you? Do they yell at you? And so forth. And I mean, when we have arguments, sometimes they can be emotional, but there's never yelling. There's never slamming doors or everything. It's always very respectful. And that's just something that I don't love fighting, but I'm just saying, like, I think it's something that as I get older, it's just something I very much appreciate, because we're not going to agree on everything, but just the amount of respect there when we do have the disagreement, it always feels good.
Yeah.
And I have a rule. I do have a rule that you never end the night with a fight.
Yep.
Ooh.
Even if you fight all day, you can fight all day. She can sucker punch me in the forehead. You never end the night with a fight. And if you have a problem and it's been like 24 hours, then you drop everything and address it. That's like my rule, not just relationship. If I'm still thinking about something 24 hours down the road, then I'm like, all right, this is important.
Yeah.
So wait, so your rule is, to be clear, never go to bed angry, would you say?
Pretty much.
Never. Yeah. I mean, don't end the night because when you go to bed,
You don't want to let it fester.
you don't want it. Yeah, exactly.
I find it rich that you're agreeing so wholeheartedly to this because
I don't go. You go to bed angry. I don't go to bed
you
angry.
totally go to bed. So I would say not.
I go to bed angry if you don't let me not go to bed angry. I initiate the not going to bed angry and you continue it. And then I just like, well, I'm going to have to go to bed angry. It's not my fault. That's the way we resolve conflict.
There may be some truth to that. Usually I'm not like, we're not going to, you don't get like a fast track to this being solved because it's bedtime. And so then he's like, okay. And then he goes to
I
bed.
eventually just give up.
But I will say that oftentimes the next morning, usually because like you said, Abigail, like you said it's usually something stupid. Like it usually is something stupid. So the next day we're like, oh, that was dumb. Like you all, yeah, you're almost embarrassed. Like I sometimes am like, I'm a little embarrassed that I got as upset as I did. For some reason, I turn into a different person at night. Mm-hmm. Do you think so? I don't pick fights with you during the day when the sun is shining.
At night, it's go time.
It's just I turn into a werewolf.
Yeah. She'll do that when I'm trying to sleep. I'm like, okay, I was wrong. I don't care. You're right. You're right the whole time, but I want to sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't even care what it was. You're right.
Yeah.
To go to sleep when I'm tired, I'll admit to anything.
Yeah.
Anything you want. You tell me I did something wrong, I did it wrong.
Yeah.
I want to go to sleep.
Can you give an example of a silly thing, like a recurring thing that's silly that you might fight about? I'm curious.
I'm sure there's tons.
For us, it's housework.
Yeah. What genre of fight is it?
Yeah.
Like what is the genre?
It's normally where one of us is putting our time. Like
one time he played Apex. It's a video game, like an hour longer than he said he would. And I was like waiting to watch a movie with him. And I actually got really annoyed because I was like, I got all my stuff done. We had a schedule. Everything was like, it was only an hour. And I turned into all disagreement. But I was
in the middle of a win and I had my little brother on the line. And I was like, I knew very dang well what I said and the trouble was going to get me into, but I was going to continue down that path regardless of the consequences.
Oh, wow. Okay. It was
a true soldier.
So you did not lose track of time. It was a conscious
I knew what time it was.
Yeah.
Which is probably worse. That's probably
that's actually, he knows how strong the relationship is that he can test it to that degree.
Oh,
he has goodwill, he can chip away.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
It is.
Yeah. It's normally time. It's what one of us said we were going to put time into, or what we allotted a walk for 2 hours or something. And I played golf for 4 or something like that.
That's a good area of fighting. I like that.
I think that's I don't think that's that silly at all.
No.
What I'm mostly enamored by is that you have walks scheduled into your days.
We do. I am as well.
It's just like nice activity, like
cute
activity that we can do together, like an hour walk every day after dinner. But he doesn't always want to.
I'm like, let's rollerblade or bomb down a hill or something like that, or drink wine and then rollerblade. She's like, let's go on a walk. It's good for you. I'm like, is it? Okay, fine. We'll do it.
Actually is good though. For you. It is.
It is.
You guys are gonna. Okay. Well, it's great to eat after a meal, but I genuinely don't. And she eats ice cream cones. Walking, she eats ice cream cones on the walk, so it's not that good for me.
Oh my God, this is the most wholesome relationship I've ever heard in my life.
That's so fun. I could just picture you like walking and being like, oh.
I do normally, I walk a lot faster than her.
Or we have to do like a treat. We have to be like, okay, we're going to walk somewhere. We'll get you sushi and then we'll walk back.
Just feed me and I'll walk to.
It's like I have a trail of food.
I'm like a dog. He's like throwing little Reese's in front of me, like picking them up.
That's very cute. Okay, so next question. Any beliefs about relationships that have changed now that you have this one?
Definitely think there are
Beliefs about
some.
relationships.
Well, I mean, part of that probably has to do with age, and like you wouldn't have learned that about a relationship unless you went through the prior one. So there's experience too. But for me would have been, I mean, it's still weird to me to say that we're living together because that's something very counter sort of how you grow up in Oklahoma. It's a lot different. So that's one thing, you know, the pace. I would have been more inclined to be like, all right, we're not doing long distance. Let's live right next to each other. She's like, all right, we're each spending $3,000 a month on rent and you get to just run away versus us being together. We get to just do it all and go through it. So that was something different for me. I guess I was sort of like, you shouldn't do that. Now, obviously, I mean, she changed my mind on that, but
So would you say then this is the first time you've ever lived with anyone in a relationship?
yeah, for sure. I mean, and I don't normally have roommates either. I'm like a solo, just tell me where you want me to be. I'll show up and I'll have fun, or we'll do this. And then I come home and it's like my space kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've never even gotten close to that, really.
So lone wolf.
Kind of. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So when you say not living together, that's like you said it's an Oklahoma thing, like you think that's a religious thing mainly?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's definitely a roots thing.
Yeah.
And from in the Midwest, it's if you're going to live with somebody, just get married.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask. Are you getting a lot of pressure? Like, what's going on? Why are you guys? Why aren't you guys married yet? What's happening?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely pressure. It's not what's the matter with you. It's like,
You're living together.
what's going on?
Yeah.
yeah.
Why not? And I kind of agree with the why not. You know, it's not like I'm like, oh, let me test this relationship. Maybe another person comes along that's better than Abigail. I'm not thinking anything like that. I'm thinking like set on it. We've talked about, you know, the next stages and things like that. But I'm pretty particular with how I go about things.
Oh, so you're planning this is a big deal. You're planning a big engagement surprise. Sorry. I'm like his grandmother now. I see.
I look at Abby and I'm like, oh yeah, I could see us being together forever. So that kind of helps me justify living together because it is something that I guess is foreign to me. So that's kind of justified. It's like, I'm going to end up with this person. That's kind of where I'm at. So that helps kind of justify it, I guess, in my mind. But it is definitely foreign based off of, you know, where I come from and things like that.
Yeah.
Abigail, was there convincing, or was it like, are you from a similar background? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I'm from a pretty similar background. I think it was kind of a shock for my parents too, because it was always instilled in me you need to live with someone until you're married. But I think it really was just kind of our circumstances. You know, we spent, you know, a ton of money on flights, doing distance, and then he was moving further away at California. My lease was ending in New York. And, you know, it's our 1 year this week, but it already felt like we were more further along in our relationship than the actual time just with the show and really having to prioritize that. So it's definitely was like a weird thing coming in because it wasn't like, oh, we're living together. That makes sense. It kind of just was like, okay, we're finally going to be in the same place. Let's kind of see how this goes. If it works for us, if it doesn't, we can figure something else out. I think it's been going really well. I mean,
a lot of for where I was with work and everything like that, a lot of it sadly was me telling her we'll figure it out. And I knew we would figure it out. I would do whatever I had to, you know, but I still was like, I mean, I don't want to address that right now. We'll do what we can do and then work it out. So a lot of it wasn't like this. What probably every girl wants is, hey, would you like to move in with me?
Yeah.
It was not that. It was not like, hey, do you want to do this together? It was more like me kind of being like, how do I figure this out and us out and where I'm at and where I want to live? Because I hadn't had my own space yet. I was renting with one of my friends.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough when you're not living in the same city already, which you were not. You know, when you are finally in the same place, it does almost seem a little wasteful, I guess, or a little unnecessary to live next to each other. So I was just, I was curious. That's really interesting. But Abigail, you're not off the hook. I want to know what beliefs about relationships have changed now that you have this one.
I would say, I think, going into the show, I definitely was very open to being in a relationship, but I think kind of my dating history and stuff is I definitely was kind of a commitment phobe just because I had just seen a lot of unhappy, relationships with my friends and so forth. And in my head, I just said, okay, when I meet someone, I'm gonna move very slowly. What if I get sick of them? I don't know if I want to, do that. And then I guess just like being in a relationship with Noah, I was just like, oh my God, I'm so obsessed with you. That's why I like spend every day with you. I want to live together. Like, I just like bring it on. I'm not like scared of doing anything. So I would say that's probably like my belief change.
Oh my God, so cute. You guys. Okay, that was adorable. It is now time for the Dear Shandy Newlyweds Game. Yay! Now, this was delightful. I feel like I almost cried watching them do this because now we have to have you guys show what you inserted between you. Abigail was so hell-bent on no cheating.
This is how we
we don't cheat.
The trusty sweet box.
A box this big when my head is up here. It's so much dividing going on.
Yeah. I'm sure it
impenetrable barrier.
Yeah. That was so cute. I'm like, don't look at each other's answers. And she's like, I got this. I'm sure it helped. You guys were very fast writing these, I've got to say. And when we gave you outs, we're like, if you hate the question, we've got backups. You were like, nope. You were confident.
And we say that and we just got them all wrong. I couldn't decide if I wanted to be like funny or something that's like factual, like based. So
no, fact. Yeah, you weren't funny, were you?
I was partially funny.
Ooh,
well,
he's
then
a
you're
risk
gonna lose.
taker. Andy likes to predict.
Okay,
the score.
but now this is affecting my prediction. If he was trying to be funny, because funny is wrong, right? You're trying to be funny, but also wrong.
You don't intentionally. It's just like it could work, but I doubt it's the correct.
Well, if
okay, just tell us what you think.
All right, I'm gonna say 4-3, Abigail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say Andy used to be really good at this, but lately he's been
done really
slipping.
poorly.
So we'll see.
His radar's been off lately.
Yeah.
I will say that in Abby's defense, I like everything. I'm like, I could work with that. Or it's like a color. I'm like, I don't really have a favorite. Maybe black. I'm like kind of just like, yeah.
Okay. That's tough to work with.
But I would also love potatoes. I'm like all over.
That could be easy or hard for this.
I'm getting a lot of Matthew McConaughey vibes from
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
I can see that.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. There's a certain swagger.
Yeah.
A swagger.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, there's Ivan again.
There he is.
Ivan, make an appearance.
The people want you, Ivan.
Yeah.
I'm their publicist, making sure they say the right thing.
That is not what you need as their publicist. That's bad for everybody.
Okay. I'm very eager to see how this goes.
Okay.
Who should we start with today?
Let's start with Abigail.
Abigail, you are stranded on a desert island. What 3 things do you bring with you? And show the camera as you say them.
I bring a phone, a lighter, and a knife.
Oh,
Okay.
Ooh, smart.
phone? That does make sense.
To call for help.
Yeah, well, you're stranded.
But do you bring your charger with you too? You're only going to have like 10 hours.
A light phone.
Okay, I
She's thought of
said
everything.
she would bring, for her, I said she would bring water, wine, and noodles. You would, I kind of assumed that halfway through she would give up. She would drink the wine, she would eat the noodles, and that would be the end of Abigail. But I was wrong on that one.
Wow. She was so much more practical than that.
Yeah,
Phone,
wow.
lighter, knife.
Okay, so no point for Noah there, but cute answer.
Cute, yeah. And funny.
We're gathering that Abigail likes noodles.
Yeah.
That's like pasta, noodles, yeah, all that.
I would rely on them to survive, but yes, I do like noodles.
Exactly. So they could work. All these could work.
Yeah, it's true.
I do.
I mean, the game is flawed in many ways. It's true.
Good.
Okay.
Most games are.
Yes, that's true.
Your favorite game, Survivor, is totally flawed.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do either of you watch Survivor?
No.
No, I might try to be on it though. I think it'd be really fun.
Oh, you'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah. He
I
would
think
be
I'd
good.
turn into a manipulative, like, just
Yeah.
look out there.
Oh yeah, people would think that you were just this sunny guy from Oklahoma, and then you'd be
And I'm hiding
stabbing them in the back.
titles in the roots and all that stuff.
You would get up to
I
trouble.
think it'd be good.
Yeah.
I would watch. I generally am not a big fan, but I would watch if you were on it.
Pitch it. We'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay, Noah, you are stranded on a desert island. What do you bring with you?
I had some debates, but I went with an axe, a cigar, and a Bible, because an axe is like usable, cigar is if I'm on my way out. And then a Bible, if I'm stranded there for a long time, you can like read. It's huge. You can read it forever.
That's the selling point for the Bible. Big book. Takes a long time to
I
read.
can spend all day reading.
Okay, Abigail, let's
I
see.
feel like it was kind of close. I said a book, but a Bible's a book.
Yeah, it counts.
I said
Oh.
wine, but wine cigar kind of
I
same
almost
thing.
did wine.
And I did ATV because last time we were on the island, he wrote an ATV.
I would bring an ATV.
That's you just bring it on your back.
car and internet. Oh, yeah.
My town. I'm gonna give Abigail that point.
I
I'm
don't
gonna give it
know.
to her.
I'm a little on the fence. She definitely gets it for book.
I
Is that all
almost did wine. I almost did. I changed it to cigar. But like my final moments, I'm thinking smoke a cigar. I did my best.
One cigar.
Yeah, one.
Yeah,
You really-
or
you
box
could-
of coupons would be cool. But
Yeah,
yeah, one just, all right, man.
Wow, you guys are both traveling very light.
Yeah.
We're stranded, I thought.
Okay, we're gonna have a sort of question mark half point for Abigail. If there's another debate, then she's
If
gonna
there's a
get
fence call, then
Yeah,
you get a
yeah,
point.
but right
for
now,
it's 0-0.
It's 0-0.
Half point.
Question number 2, Abigail. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Tardy or late people.
I mean, it's excellent.
Respectable.
I'm
She
never
points
late.
at
I
you.
just push it.
Let's see, Noah. Did you?
I
get that?
said being late.
Wow. Wow, that is a slam dunk point right there.
Mhm.
Okay, Noah, what's your biggest peeve?
I said flaky people.
Okay.
Similar.
I said negative people.
It's not a big pet. I don't like it, but yeah. I mean, people that are like flaky, like they
No,
just
she doesn't get that.
I respect her answer, but she's not getting
She's
that
not getting a
point.
point,
Oh,
no.
Abigail, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
But-
Yeah, but that
answer.
was a great answer. I also don't like flaky people, by the way.
I'm
No
the
one likes
person
flaky
that like I'll do everything I can not to commit to it, but once I do, it's in stone, locked in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
I do feel you put off committing. I feel like there's sort of an epidemic of people who are always waiting for something better to come along.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And they're just
The
sort of
options
not.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so we are 1-0 for Noah right now, Andy. So far, you're off. Although Abigail, I feel she's
She's
been
gonna come on
skirting
late.
around.
She's
yeah.
gonna come on late.
That could come in handy.
Yeah.
Question number 3: What TV show, Abigail, do you watch because of Noah? Meaning, you would not watch this show if it were not for him.
I said Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Okay, see, that's news to me because she's the one that got us to watch that,
No,
and she has a habit of starting a show and then I don't know, few episodes in, season in, she's just disinterested, and I'm stuck with. So now I know Breaking Bad is another one of
No,
those shows.
I love
Wow.
Breaking Bad now, but we started it because you really wanted to watch it. I probably would have not have started it by myself, but I do.
Okay.
Like
Mine
Okay.
was a broad answer because I get her to watch these shows, pretty much any medieval show. I make her watch all the shows that are like the knights and castles, medieval ones.
Okay.
We gotta watch those.
Noah, what TV show do you watch because of Abigail? Meaning you would not watch it if it weren't for
I was
her.
debating between all of her reality TV shows or Friends.
Friends.
Say, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yay,
nice.
she got it. Yay. Ooh, things are getting
I
interesting.
don't like any shows that they have the laugh track in the background.
I totally agree. Why should I be told when to laugh?
You
If
shouldn't
I'm
be-
told when to laugh, that means they're insecure about when people should be laughing.
it can be funny.
Yeah.
Okay, 1-1. We're tied.
You guys aren't doing that well.
It's getting very interesting. They're not doing bad. The lowest score ever gotten is 0.
Yeah.
So
People
you've
think-
already.
Was there a 0-0 or a 1-0?
It was
No, I've got it's 2-0. What are we doing here?
no, because Abigail got it right. What you would say for her, you said Friends, and she got it right.
Oh, the scoring is even more complicated.
All right.
I will say they're the first to really point out how flawed this game is.
But the original Newlyweds Game was flawed too. Then was we're abiding by the same rules as the TV show.
Yeah. Well, and you didn't get your point because she said she watches Breaking Bad for you, and you said medieval shows.
Yeah, you didn't guess right.
She spoke for herself. In this case, you spoke for yourself. You watch Friends.
Friends.
Yeah, you watch Friends, and she knew that you would say Friends.
Yeah.
Oh, this is backwards.
No, it's like pickleball. You can only score when you're serving.
Okay, regardless.
Okay.
Okay, question number 4. Abigail, what was your first ever job, meaning the first thing you ever did for money?
I was a bad girl.
Yeah.
You
A
were a
what
bad
girl?
girl?
Like a
Cutest little bad girl.
like
At the
a
grocery store?
Oh,
like golf bad girl.
Golf.
I like gloves.
She said like Trader Joe's.
No, I think she thought I said something else.
She thought
I thought she was a bad girl at the grocery store too.
Yeah. You know what that says? It says that we don't live in a state where golfing is a thing.
Wow. So
That's
you were
what it
you were a
says.
caddy.
You were
like
a caddy.
Is it in a caddy? What's the difference?
Yeah.
So you were like a low level caddy. It was like you weren't allowed to give advice. You just carried the bag.
Me? Yeah.
Well, she was like 12, I think.
you were 16
Or
or
16.
Yeah, chip it a little bit to the right. Like,
Oh my
what are you
God.
talking to me for? You're 12.
golf carts. Like it was
Okay.
like a first club. So I would see them walking down. Like, oh, hi, Mr. Smith. And I got the bag.
That's nice. That seems like
Wow.
a cushy job as a 12-year-old.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
yeah.
you get a lot of tips.
You're right. The cutest bad girl ever.
She probably,
Freckles and like
yeah.
some bangs.
I won over all the old men.
Yeah.
She was playing the system. I appreciate that.
she figured it
Noah,
out early.
did you get that?
Well, now I don't know how the point system works, but I said golf girl.
That's good.
You got it.
Oh,
You got it.
Do you get a point for that then?
No, could you
absolutely.
You get that point,
You
Noah.
get a point.
I don't know how you guys are doing the point system.
And when he wins, he's going to be like, oh, I totally get it. Makes total sense.
Yeah. Well, right now you are winning.
My question, but I don't know. Here we go.
I also think she would make, like, I'm also imagining her bagging groceries, and it's also
Oh,
cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's cute no matter what.
Autumn, be careful. Here's
Yeah.
your peanut butter.
No.
Yeah.
Noah, what was your first ever job?
I said mow lawns. I used to go and just walk around and mow people's lawns.
Okay.
I think lawn mower was the correct answer you were looking for.
Well, that's like a machine, that sound.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
Generally, it's a machine.
Abigail, did you get that?
I thought we were doing like official, like
Yeah. You know what? Hold on a second. This is an unprecedented moment. I think you answered the question wrong because that's not a real job.
No, I said the first thing you ever got paid money to do. That could be babysitting.
Yeah, but okay. You're right. No, you know what? You're right.
That's why I add that
It's
line.
a legitimate answer.
Yeah.
You're right.
I said when you would drive with Sam to go check the cell tower things.
No. Good job, though.
No idea what that is.
Wait, let's see. Can I see what you wrote for that?
I think she wrote exactly what she just said.
What did you say?
Driving with Sam to check cell towers. My handwriting's really bad.
You wrote all that in 10 seconds?
Well, because I didn't know.
Wait. Now this begs the question: what the hell is she talking about?
Yeah.
We used to go, it's called site acquisition, We go, there's all these cell towers everywhere. I'm not getting into the details, but basically we would go test the cell towers, make sure they're functioning properly, type in some codes, spray the grass and string trim, then go to the next one.
Was she right? Like, what was the first thing you ever did for money was mow lawns?
Oh, I mowed lawns, and when I was like 14, we would just go to all the rich neighborhood and ask to mow their lawns for $40 or rake their leaves.
$40.
Okay.
Yeah, we made money.
That's good. That's good money.
Abigail, I'm sorry. I feel like she's always skirting around getting a
She's
point.
close enough that
is
she gets
close.
sympathy points, but not actual points.
Yeah. I feel like she deserves more. You deserve more. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Question number 5. Abigail, it's your last meal on Earth. What do you order? You agreed, both of you, to just do one thing. Let's see. She orders sushi.
Nice call. Good call.
Oh, Noah does not look confident after that.
Yeah,
Let's see.
we did. She did tell me her favorite food was sushi, but I'm convinced based on how much pasta she eats, it would have been pasta.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, he was really leaning into the noodles theme.
Yeah.
She eats a lot of noodles. I see it every day, so I assume that's her favorite food.
It's just easy to make. I can't make sushi at home.
Yeah, and if it's like your last meal on Earth, you're ordering something you cannot make.
Yeah, I eat a lot of sardines, but my last meal on Earth ain't sardines.
Yeah, Andy eats a lot of sardines.
Yeah, I eat sardines all the time. They're
not
disgusting. They're so disgusting.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's like a disgusting thing you like. Like when you smell something that's really bad and you're like, oh, I want to smell that again. It's the same thing.
Crackers or straight?
Oh, I straight right out of the can. I don't even put on a plate. Actually, you know what I do sometimes now? What I found is good is I put mustard on them.
Sometimes when I turn into a ravenous animal, I'll just put straight mustard just try to get as much mercury and aluminum as I can into my body. Just do mustard into the can, stir a little bit, eat it straight.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's basically what I do. I don't even put on a plate.
That's a dark side of me. I mean,
Well. Yeah, I'm not that proud of it
Yeah,
either.
I feel like you should maybe keep that more under wraps.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, is that embarrassing?
Like he only brought it up because you brought it up, but I feel like that's how you should think
Yeah,
of
but
your
this is how
sardine
people
habit.
connect. They're like,
It's true.
I also like sardines with mustard in the can.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they're, a person's wedding.
Meanwhile, Abigail and I are shaking our heads.
No?
Yeah, no. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, Noah, it's your last meal on Earth. What do you order?
I said pho.
Okay,
That's a good call.
excellent. Abigail, did you get that? Ramen.
Same. That's good. We got, yeah.
Those
We
are
got
different. Listen,
Noodles and soup.
we're talking.
I got to give it to her.
She
to her.
deserves. Okay, you want to know why she deserves it? Is because of that other half point.
Yes. This is where the half point comes in.
We want to be clear that ramen is Japanese and pho is Vietnamese, so I don't want to offend anyone.
Oh, we will, by the way, get heavy hate on the comment section.
What I'm about to say is this might not be politically correct, but as two people from Asian descent, for you to agree that ramen and pho are the same is
I think
That's not what's happened.
outrageous. And you know it. And your grandmothers would not be happy.
I mean, he's right.
We're not saying it's the same. It's that she was really close, and she also had that half point waiting in the wings. She's getting
Yeah,
the
it
point.
just so happens that it's both Asian. Like if it was some Italian noodle soup, I would have said it's the same thing.
A lot of favoritism in this point system.
Well, we are now 2-2.
We got to
and
do a tiebreak.
You have the choice between having a tiebreaker question that we do right now, or we can just
No, I'm
be
not
all
giving them a
merry
choice.
and
They're
go
doing
on.
a tiebreak.
Oh, Andy wants you to do a tiebreaker.
tiebreaker.
Okay, tiebreaker time. Abigail. Actually, just for both of you. Oh, you got it.
It's coming back. The official Newlyweds Game divider.
Yes, yeah, branded.
Not sponsored.
Yeah. Okay, Abigail, what's the first thing you'll buy if you win the lottery?
I would buy a yacht.
Ooh.
Where did that come from?
We talk about it all the time.
Okay.
No,
Well,
Is
did you
it
get
is
that?
it big? How big are we talking?
Yeah.
However much money, like you to put the whole thing in. Like if
Oh,
it's
massive. I would have like a personal chef, like the whole
Nice.
layout area in the front.
Right.
I respect that choice. That's a true lottery purchase.
yeah, and you live on the yacht, right? You just live on the yacht. You don't ever never go.
No, just 6 months out of the year.
Oh, that's good enough. Yeah.
Noah, did you get that?
Well, seeing how she's been driving my car for a year and has been talking about get a car for a year, which should be the right answer. I said car
Ah,
because that is something we've talked about.
what? That card is something that 60% of Americans own.
Hey,
I'm just been a little slow.
a lot of money coming in. I'm buying a car. You could buy one now, but I assume that would be
Yacht
the over the
first.
edge. That would be the
No, yacht first and not a
Oh
car.
yeah.
Come on.
Yacht. I respect the yacht choice. Love it.
have to Uber to our yacht.
I'm sure she'll save enough of the lottery winnings to buy a car.
I'll take the loss on that one.
All right, Noah, you've won the lottery. What's the first thing you buy?
I'm getting a fat catamaran with a trampoline on the front. Nice sailboat.
Oh wow, you guys are really on
Wait,
the same page.
What trampoline?
Gosh, I
What did
knew
she
she
say?
could get that one.
She put what did she write?
Sailboat.
Sailboat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She won.
Abigail, you just slid through there and won the Dear Shandy
Very technical
Newlyweds.
win, if you ask me.
She really likes she was Indiana Jones in the
Yeah.
end.
She did. She came up. It was a come from behind victory too.
It really was.
That's a legitimate victory.
She deserved
You lost,
this.
Noah. You lost this game.
Very legitimate
Yeah.
victory.
You guys, what an absolute delight it was to have you. Thank you so much for joining us and just giving us so many laughs today.
Thank you guys. We had fun.
Well, looking forward to seeing you in person soon. And thanks for sharing your relationship with us. And yes, go off and be merry and go win the lottery and then invite us onto your yacht.
Go get a yacht.
Hopefully another double date soon. We think you guys are one of the best podcasts out there. We think.
Thank you.
Andy, we haven't seen you as much. We've seen Charlene. We like Charlene quite a bit. But we also
Wait, what? Hold on a second.
Well, now that I know you eat sardines,
with
there's
mustard.
a little stronger bond there. But we do love you guys. We're glad we came on.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is great.
All right, have fun. We'll see you soon, I hope.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Oh, God, I like them so much more than I did on TV. And that's not an insult. That's the biggest compliment.
It is the biggest compliment.
TV, it's bullshit. My progression with them is on TV. I was like, in person when we went to the dinner with Thomas and Becca.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, this isn't what I saw on the TV. The TV lied to me.
The TV.
And then this took it. It was like 1, 2, 3 knockout. These guys are unbelievable. They're great.
Yeah, they were
I want to see them
lovely.
again. I want them to come to New York. I want to hang out with them.
No, it's so true. It was really one of those cases where, and it's always a little humbling, especially when you've been recapping it and you're like, I know, look at the way they look at each other. Look at their conversations. It really puts into perspective just how little you know and how much is left behind. You know, when they're like, yeah, we talked about this, we joked about this, and yeah, we did this, but we also did this.
Yep.
I mean, it makes you remember just how edited the show is, but it's also humbling because I like to think that I know, just as millions of people do. But do we really?
We don't know.
No.
We don't know until we know.
And I love being proven wrong, especially in such a satisfying and fun way. Like, they were just so fun.
You know what it is? They're just weird.
They're weird.
They're weird in the best way.
Yeah.
I know they're even weirder, way weirder than we think they are. Which is
totally.
Great.
Yeah.
You have to be weird. Life is weird. Existence is weird. You got to be weird. There's nothing normal about anything. Don't act like it's normal. Look, I'm not saying act like a lunatic in everything you do.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that
See
life
the humor.
is insane, and you could go have your job, take care, be nice to people, do all the right things as a human.
Yeah.
But every day of your life, you're like, this is really weird.
First of all, I love that about you, that you see the weirdness, but it's always just
Likewise.
so. Sometimes I go to this weird place where I'm like, we have an apartment inside a building, inside a city, and I start to think of us like being in a honeycomb, like in like one little compartment in a honeycomb, and like we're so irrelevant, but it also gives you freedom because who cares? I sound like I'm on something right now, but I'm really not.
We're not. When I'm on something, I think less about these things. We have a hole in our face that we eat in, we talk out of, we kiss with, we give blowjobs with. Yeah.
We put each other's parts in or on. Yeah.
Like, what's up with that?
It's crazy.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
Everything is so strange. What if you take away that hole? Just take
screwed.
it away. Take away your mouth. How weird is everything?
Oh, we're screwed.
It's even weirder.
Anyway.
Makes no sense.
The point being, they're delightfully weird and together. So cute.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I don't have any doubt that they're going to last.
You know, I love being proven so wrong about someone. I didn't dislike Noah on Klaysha's season, but I wasn't like, yeah, Noah. I was just like, I disagree with this and this and this. And when I met him, I was like, I am so wrong, and I am thrilled to be wrong because you're so great.
But the thing is, oftentimes, and no offense to people who are great on TV, I'm not saying everyone who's great on TV is a bad person, but I'm saying oftentimes the people who are the worst on TV, oftentimes are the best people. Because it's not natural. It's not always natural to be good on TV.
Well, you're making a good point. Like he said, he was like, I knew that breaking up with Abigail was going to make me look bad, but he did it anyway because it felt right at the time. Yeah. It really speaks to a certain inner compass, like knowing that you're doing something right for you, or maybe he got manipulated or whatever, but he didn't care what people thought.
Didn't care.
That's a superpower, I personally think. And Abigail, meanwhile, she speaks to me in so many ways. Like, she's clearly not herself with a camera on her. And that makes me only like her more.
Abigail is channeling some heavy Charlene
Yeah.
in her ways.
Yeah. I mean, I'm flattered by that comparison.
She's absolutely adorable. I love them.
Yeah.
Great couple.
Great. Love Fest success.
Seal of approval.
Yeah. And they made it easy for me too, because I often have to slide into DMs and be like, hey.
No, they were
you
right
come?
on time. Were they like 8 seconds late?
No, they were 8 seconds early.
Really?
Which, I mean,
8
we're not
seconds
going to
early.
name names, but let's just say that's not normal when
Not
dealing
normal.
with bachelor couples.
I even said to you before, like 5 minutes before, I was like, when was the last time you talked to them? And you're like,
Actually,
oh, it's...
okay. We actually have to describe this because it did happen.
Yeah.
So before we're rolling, it's like 5 minutes out. And Andy, you're like, when was the last time you had any correspondence with them? And I said, oh, we were just coming up with this date and time. And you're like, nothing else? And I was like, well, Gabby sent a Zoom link and we all agreed on the time. And you're like, I don't know if they're going to show up.
I did say that.
Okay, first of all, this is not a reflection on them, but more of a reflection
No, I
on
just-
bachelor couples in general or bachelor people.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, they're going to be there because of Abigail. Abigail's going to be there on time. Not only was she there on time, but she had the papers ready, the pens
Unbelievable.
ready. Not that Noah wasn't ready.
No. Noah was ready. He was ready in spirit.
He was ready in spirit. But Abigail, I had a vibe. I knew that she was it. And she was.
She's on top of her game.
It sounds like we're blowing smoke, but we really did love them that much. I can always tell by after Love Fest, sometimes I'm tired. And
Yeah,
other
I don't feel
times
tired.
I'm like, oh, like I kind of want to go drinking with them.
You know what? You know how I gauge it? How
Huh.
much I smell after Love Fest.
Are you working up a bit of a
Nothing.
perspiration over
Nothing.
there?
I smell totally fresh.
Oh, it's the opposite from what I thought. So what you're saying?
Why would I get when I get stressed out, I start to like a lot of underarm sweat and it smells. That's what men do. They
So what you're
smell.
saying is that you just have clean sweat right
Smell
now.
my armpits. It's not bad, right?
No,
Yeah, not bad.
not bad at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good Love Fest.
If you enjoyed what you heard today, you know what we will ask of you, and that is to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us on Instagram and TikTok, tell your friends, leave us Apple and Spotify podcast ratings and reviews, and generally do all the things you would do to support a podcast you enjoy. We should have done the same with them, by the way, at the top with their handles, but I feel like they're way more
They're
famous
fine.
than us.
They don't need Dear Shandy. They're doing just fine.
Yeah, we'll obviously link their stuff below,
Yeah.
but generally do all the things you would do to support a podcast you enjoy. And that's a wrap, Andy, for this very lovey-dovey love fest.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Dear Shandy. Bye-bye. Dear Shandy.